All right. I think I'll just have to begin the class, and I'll accept them as they come. Whoever that joins the class later, we'll welcome them in. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with us, and it's just like the normal class board you know of. I made it to look black, but you can change it to any color of your choice. I think black is better, so that um please, Mr. Peter, can you mute your mic because it's echoing? All right, thank you, sir. So I'm going to, just like I said, I'll be recording this session for those who may join us later so that they can also benefit from the class. I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Leonard Utaji. I base in Makodi. I'm a teacher, not by profession, but I studied BSc Physics from Benue State University, and I love teaching, and I just found myself teaching. So I love doing it. Even while in school, I started teaching. So I'll just give you a breakdown of my journey into teaching, and then how I'm able to come up with things like this. When I was in SS1, I love studying. So most times I take my table and chair outside. There's a corridor in front, and I grew up in Air Force Base, Makodi. So we have this veranda that is in front of the house, and we live in a compound, a block of 24. Yeah, 24. Yes. So I always study outside, and while in SS1, I do my assignments in the evenings. As from 4, I sit outside to study. And there's this neighbor of ours that his friend normally come to visit him. They are all soldiers. So whenever he comes within the hour of that evening when I'm doing my assignment, and he always sees me sitting. He's of my tribe, so he one day approached me and said, "I love the way you study, and I would love you to also guide my son, who is also a junior. At least let him be also studying with you, do assignments." And that was my first lesson student I had. And from there, the boy was in GSS 3, I was in SS1. So I started having lessons with him, and he brought his daughter after him. So I had to. So started studying, we'll do assignments all on maths because I enjoyed solving mathematics. While I was in SS2, they were now in SS1. I was still carrying them along. Another came. So under from my secondary school, I had 3 lesson students. Those I was teaching, that I know that okay, I'm being paid for this. Aside others, I teach. Even my younger ones, I do assignments for them and I solve problems for them. So I love teaching. I love explaining to people. Even my classmates, we do study together, and um, that groomed me into teaching. Although I've told myself that I don't want to be a teacher because we all know the reason. They don't pay well and or whatnot. But I found myself doing it, and I just have no other option than to fall in love with it. Even in the university, it continued that way, and I applied for medicine, but because of the quota system, I was not given medicine twice, and I was given admission in my name came out in physics, no chemistry, and biology. I said, no, I'm not going to study chemistry or biology. And when physics came up, okay, I did remedials, and I was given admission in remedials to study physics. And I fell so much in love with physics that I love it because it's more of natural. It's things you can argue about, things that answers questions like why. And to me, I understood physics better, but I do better in chemistry. And to me, chemistry is abstract. So chemistry, like maybe you just cram, and But I enjoyed physics. Even in class, I prefer to go to call the physics teacher than even the chemistry teacher. So that um, gave me the reason why I chose to study physics in school as against chemistry and biology. So upon graduation, I was posted for NYC and I went to Cross River. Luckily for me, after the 3 weeks mandatory camp, I was assigned um, to do my primary assignment at Unisem Company. It's a factory, a cement company in Calabar. So when I went to Calabar, we had to do the registration, do the training, and they gave us 1 week orientation in Unisem. And I was still not okay working in a cement company because I one we were to move to another local government, Anineje. They call it Anineje, Akankpa local government in uh, Cross River, and I've already made up my mind that I'm coming to stay in Calabar. I don't want to go anywhere outside Calabar. Although they had their head office in Calabar, but they were still thinking of moving to Anineje, and I was like, no, I'm not going to Anineje. So we're asked to go to the factory to go and work. In the factory, they now assigned us um to their sponsored schools. They have sponsored schools that they teach there, but because of the environment, I told myself that I'm not going to that place. So I now called a friend of mine who is a copper who was posted to St. Patrick's College, Ikoransa there, and he told me that there's vacancy for a further maths teacher. He doesn't know if I can teach further. I said, further maths is my name. Call me. So I went to St. Patrick's College. I met the principal, then Reverend Father Dominic Umo, and he interviewed me. There and there, he told me, young man, you can go and get a redeployment later. I said, no, you have to write a request later because that's the only reason why they will redeploy me. I went back to Unisem. I told them that I can't stay, even with all the mouth-watering uh, packages they have for core members. I told them that I'm going, that I want to go to St. Patrick's to teach. I'm not to work in a factory or whatever. So they granted me the relief letter. They rejected me. I had to go to St. Patrick's, go to the LI. The LI now referred me to the ZI. Glory be to God, it was a smooth ride. I was now transferred to St. Patrick's College. So I did my service there. In fact, I fell in love with the school. I started teaching there. After my 1 year mandatory NYSC, I was retained to teach in the school. So I continued teaching because I had a program to run in Calabar in Crutech, now University of Cross, so Unicross. So I had to stay back in St. Patrick's. So I taught in St. Patrick's for a couple of years. Plus my NYC, that should be 9 years in all. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my stay in St. Patrick's. But during the COVID, before the COVID, I started building my presence online. I also got some I started getting some gadgets, cameras, laptops, and I started watching other people's videos online. I started wondering, how can I do this? That was in 2016. So I sold the idea to my school because I discovered that most of my boys don't know, and the only way to teach them is to have extra classes with them. So I started having extra classes upon extra classes for free. Some days I will call them to come back to school on Saturdays and we'll meet. Sometimes I go to the boarding house for those who are boarders, and during the evening preps, we still have classes. But how do I carry everybody along? It's only on Saturdays or after school. And sometimes after school, most parents will be, I need to go with my child and all that. So it was so difficult for me. I saw the idea to the school, if we can have an e-library, we'll create a studio whereby every teacher comes in to deliver lessons, and we have an e-library where students who may have missed a class or students who are slow learners can go back to the library, and we have this. Okay, sorry, sir. My mic went off. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
All right. So in St. Patrick's College, I doubled as the head of ICT, where we do process results, okay, and uh, assign issue results to students. Okay, so I had the opportunity of heading the lab. It was a lab of about 30 computers. So I was in charge. So what I normally do is that after my class, I'll have a recorded class where I'll set my cameras and the board, and then I will teach, explain a particular topic, and I'll put it in the systems. So after the class, if I mark script and I discover a child is not doing well, I will invite him to the class, to my office, and I'll explain to him. So at a point, I started having more students coming, and the whole thing was just on me. I can't do that alone. I was suffering from ulcer as a result of stress and all that. Even though I was eating, but I was still having this thing. So I had to make videos and put in the system. Instead of me explaining to those students multiple of times, all I need to do is just to refer them to the system and they watch. So there was a particular day when I had about 5 different lessons, and I had to call this. When they came in, I had to position them. Okay, you sit, and I gave them the videos to watch, and I could see myself teaching 5 to 10 different set of students simultaneously. So all I need to do, I was sitting up on my desk while they were down there, and all they could do was to pause and ask me questions, and I was busy explaining to them simultaneously. I told myself that, wow, so if I can do this, then it means I can even reach out to more students. That was before COVID. So I got some gadgets, of which one include this graphics tab that I will explain to you later. I got the graphics tab and I was using it to teach. So there were some coppers that were also assigned to my office. Copper Mohammed, is it Mohammed? No. I have Copper Patrick and some other coppers too. I've forgotten their names. So they were also assisting me to do the recording. And if you go to my YouTube channel, you see where some of them equally taught, because some of them studied math and other. So they love staying in my office and we were doing it together as young men. So I was teaching and it was going on until COVID came. Now we couldn't have the normal classes with students. And in fact, there was no teaching at all. So some of them were, the parents were still calling me, how do we meet? How do we do this? And it was a total shutdown, although I was still having home lessons for some of the students. And those that could not reach me, those that traveled out, because we had students coming in from Lagos, from Uyo, even down to Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, we have students all coming to Calabar, St. Patrick's College for studies. So I had to put the video on my YouTube channel for them to watch. So sometimes they will watch and ask questions on the comment section. I will respond to it, and I started doing that and gaining publicity, putting it on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok, at my lesson teacher, and I started having engagement. Students started following me from there. So at that point, I thought of going bigger, and I had to get a bigger graphics tablet. Now, this is the graphics tablet you are seeing on the screen. The one you are seeing. If I write on it now, you will see it. Okay, so this is the graphics tablet I got. I got it from Jumia, although I got it from AliExpress through Jumia. Then it was around close to 200,000. I got it. But as that of last week, I went online to see if I can get another, because a teacher asked me to get it for her when she saw mine. And I said, okay, let me check. I checked. This particular one was not there, but there was a newer version. Lo and behold, when I looked at the current price, it was above 2 million. Something I bought less than 200,000. I saw it uh, on Jumia going for $999. So if you check the equivalent, is above is above 2 million, if I'm not mistaken, or 1 million plus. So it has gone up. But I thank God I got it for myself. So I started using it. And I started putting some of these videos on YouTube, like I said, on TikTok, on Facebook. And a friend of mine called me, and she was like, her cousin, her nephew is having issues in maths and other sciences that should help. That was where I got my first lesson student online. I started teaching him online the same way I'm explaining it to you. The same way we're having this meeting is the same way I teach him. So I write on the board, he sees it. I don't share, it's not video. Yeah, if I want to share video, I can share the videos for them to watch. I can share pictures. I can also write on the board. So the only difference between me teaching online and my physical teaching in the class is just that I don't have the opportunity to touch my students or to have one-on-one contact with them. But you can see me, I can see you, you can ask questions, I can answer your questions, I can write on the board for you. But the only challenge is that you can't write on my board. Rather, you write on your exercise book and then screenshot and send to me. But I think it is 90% equivalent to a normal classroom teaching. So me constantly putting it out on Facebook, on TikTok, on YouTube, I started getting engagement, and I started getting gigs from friends. It was my friends that started referring me. They will refer me to somebody that will refer me to somebody. Okay. And now, glory be to God, most of my students online are from the UK, US, Canada. Okay. I've taught them. So it is very simple for you to have it done. Now, for those who are school owners, just like I proposed to my former school, I don't know if they have gotten something like this, but you can also help your students by having a studio where you have every teacher coming in to teach. Where I'm sitting now is my studio. At the end of this class, I may show you around. Okay, you can have a green screen behind where you teach. I sit and teach, and I write on my board. It is being displayed for you as you see. Okay, so it is very easy for teachers to use, especially those who are teaching maths, physics, or maths and sciences. Okay, they can use this easily and teach for students. Now, and I said something to uh, the school authority back then while I was in Calabar. I told them that when you do something like this, it helps the school and it also helps the teachers, in the sense that if those videos I left in Calabar, students that I didn't meet as a teacher in that college can still revisit my videos and learn from Mr. Otaji. without Mr. Otaji being paid for teaching those students. So my legacy will still remain for students that I don't even know to study under me. It's possible that you may not get somebody to teach the way I do, but your students can learn from various teachers. And it so happened that even in the course of my study in crew tech, what I did was, since I was teaching and I had no opportunity to attend all the lectures, sometimes before getting to the lecture venue is around 3, because I normally close by 2. So before you get a taxi to the school for the PG program, they must have gone an hour or 2 into the lecture, because our classes normally starts by 2 to 7. So before you get there, you must have missed 1 or 2 things. So I still go back home, get the topic, go to YouTube and download it. And I got the explanation from more than 3-4 lecturers. Same thing can happen to your students. If they have Mr. Otaji explaining algebra or explaining scalar and vector quantity, and you have Mr. B explaining that same scalar and vector quantity, and you have like 4 different teachers from that school explaining such, you will discover that if student A does not understand the explanation of Mr. Otaji, he can understand better from teacher A or teacher B that must have taught physics 1 or twice in that school before relocating to another school. So this can help the school authority. Also for the teachers, like I proposed, you don't expect a teacher to do that for free. You can also be giving such teachers, to encourage them, be giving them, maybe for every video you post or for every video you make with the ICT department, you'll be entitled to something small. And that will help. I give an example. There was a day I had issue because of the ulcer. I had to go to the hospital and I missed some periods. Now, what would have happened if I didn't make videos on some of these topics? When I came back, my students came. I was in pain. Then I told them I can't talk. I can't do much. Okay, what you do is come to the ICT lab. And I gave them some of these videos already prepared for like a class a year or 2 before. And they were able to watch. When I recovered fully, when I went to the class, it was just a summary. Okay, so if you can do that as a school authority, whereby it is a 50-50 between you and your teachers, they will gain, and you will even gain more than them. Just imagine them getting 5,000 naira for making a video, and you using that video to teach students for more than 14-15 years. So it is a plus to the school more than even the teachers. And for the teachers, you gain the experience, you gain the confidence to stand in front of the camera to teach. Because I know of so many of my colleagues that refused to do that, even when I gave them the free hand or the opportunity to say, okay, come, I'll record you for free. So if you do this, it will help you as a school. Now, after the COVID, because during the COVID, I made a lot of money from it. Why other teachers were complaining that no salary was not coming in. I was busy running home lessons and as well as doing lesson online. In fact, it was from my home lesson that I bought that graphics tab of close to 200,000. I bought other things. I had to install solar in my house because of a NEPA issue. I bought so many things. And at the end, I discovered that I was even making more than the regular teaching. While I was teaching from 7 to 2, making less than 50,000, my home lesson was giving me close to 200,000 in a month. So I even preferred the home lesson than even the teaching. I prayed for school not to even resume because I was making a lot of money from there. So when they eventually resumed, I was reluctant. Let me just tell you the truth. And it started showing. At the point I had to resign. I had to put in my resignation letter because I was doing more, being paid less, while I was also doing all that. Now I can't even combine both of them together because you know what happens when you are teaching. The stress from 7 to 2 p.m. Most times you even have lesson notes to write, some scripts to mark, especially those of us who are taking senior secondary, and you have a lot of um, exercises to mark. And I don't even relax assignments given to students. Sometimes I had to tell them to solve all on a particular exercise. So imagine you having 30 students. I was teaching A, B, C, three arms of nothing less than 30 students in a class. So it was so much work for me. Then coming to a home lesson, 2 hours per day, and you are being paid what you are not being paid. So I just had to choose, and I had to send in my resignation letter. Although I miss the school, I miss teaching in school, but we just have to find our way out. So that's how I have been teaching for the past. This is getting to. I resigned in 2022, and this is 2025, like 3 years ago. So all I do now is to teach online, as well as to do educational content, put it on Facebook, TikTok, and from the revenue I've been gathering, I was able to raise a poultry farm. So that's what I do now. I'm a poultry farmer, I'm a content creator, and I'm equally a teacher. I don't think I would have been enjoying all this if I just rely solely on school. I'm not saying teaching in school is bad. You can, if you can combine